Okay, no, it's fine. Okay, just give me a sec. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Open Mic Foundation. It is the second last day of the month of August. We were celebrating the women of today, and it has been Women's Month in South Africa. So thank you so much, everyone, for all your contribution, all the speakers for this month. It has been a really, really phenomenal month sharing the month of women with everyone. So our last speaker for the month of women is Sindile. Thank you so much for joining and welcome.
Hi, Sashni. Hi, everyone, whoever that's watching right now. Hello.
Yeah, everyone's. So I think, let's go to it, right? Your talk today is about who am I? I think there's a lot of conversations happens about people today, our youth today, women of today. Everyone wants to, try to get to a position of understanding who they are. There's been movies, there's been a lot of songs as well about who am I. So this is quite an interesting topic, and I think a lot of people, a lot of women will be able to relate to this, especially going through our struggles in life. So I'm going to hand it over to you. I think, Sindile, just introduce yourself, who you are, where you come from, and then dive right into the topic.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Sindile Madlingozi, and I'm 29 years old, and I live in Midrand. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. And just welcome to everyone joining us today on a Sunday afternoon. I know it's very cold in Cape Town, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's a snow that's actually a blizzard that they're having in Cape Town on Table Mountain. So keep warm, people in Cape Town. There's a lot of our users up from Cape Town. So Sindile, I think let's start. Let's share your story of who you are.
Okay. Like I said in the beginning, my name is Sindile Madlingozi, and well, my dad is from Cape Town, and my mom is from Port Elizabeth. But with our tradition, it's where your dad is from, where you're mostly from. So I am from Cape Town and Port Elizabeth. I grew up in PE, and I also grew up in Johannesburg. So I did my primary school in Port Elizabeth, and then I did my high school going forward till date in Johannesburg.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm an entrepreneur. I like introducing myself like that. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So I think let's get to your story of who am I, right? And how did you come about, wanting to discuss this? So I'm gonna hand it over to you so that you can start the story.
Okay. Okay, so my journey began well, it always starts somewhere. So, and I always relate to it this way, where I tell my story from when I was a very young girl, growing up with my granny in Port Elizabeth. I think it's also like her teachings, because I was granny's little girl and I was always around her. So it went with her teachings and me growing up to her lessons and her wisdom and her guidance and support for me. So when I started when I started realizing my journey, it was this woman that always gave me favor. She listened to me, and she was just there to guide me as a young girl growing up. So I took that, obviously, and as I was growing up, being moved from her to live with my dad, it also kind of exposed me to more things growing up. Like now you stepping into high school and you meet a whole lot of people, you start making friends, and then you start working, and then there's also tertiary on the side. So it's a lot of things that you get exposed to growing up. And it's up to you as an individual if you want to choose. You get to choose now because you're exposed and you can make decisions for your life. So you get to choose am I going to go this way or am I going this way? So for me, it was that. And from being a young girl growing up, I took those lessons from my granny and I never let them go because I felt I needed foundation to be able to be exposed to a bigger space and a bigger environment. I needed that foundation and I kept it with me. So growing up and starting school and graduating and you start working, it made me it made me make myself choose. Am I going to choose the world or am I going to stick with what my granny told me growing up as a little girl? And I chose the world. For me, I chose the world because I had to learn and I had to engage and I had to grow, knowing that there's a world that I'll always be exposed to when I go to work, when I go into social circles with friends, or when I'm at home. So I took those lessons and it also made me choose. So I had to choose the world. And now I'm exposed to it. Now I have bigger decisions to make. Now I'm growing up. So what am I going to do with what I had coming into this world? And what am I going to do with what I am taking in from the world? So it became something so big and I had to choose. So for me, I chose to stick out from the crowd, to know to have my sense of belonging and to know that if I'm going to choose the world and I'm going to find myself belonging in the world, then what it is what I choose for myself. So it really became a struggle for me. And I chose to just, isolate from everything in the world. And I was like, okay, I made a decision and I chose the world and this is what the world comes with. So now I have to make another decision on top of that to say, is the world better for me or me knowing who I am and being comfortable with that an option for me too? So it became a whole lot of questions for me and I stood by them. But I think with me also growing up and understanding, because there's also like dating, there's also like new environments that you're always exposed to. So I took that as there's always learning curves. There'll always be potholes and speed humps that we go through. And what we don't realize as young people is that they do affect us directly, but we choose to cloud them. Because another thing that I also relate to very highly is, when you wake up in the morning and you are getting dressed for work or school or whatever it is, and you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're naked, like whatever that you decide to put on to cover yourself is what you've chosen to be for the world that day. Because if I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna put on heels and I'm gonna put on hair, I'm gonna do my makeup, and I'm gonna carry a nice cute designer bag, then that's how I want to be seen to the world. But if I'm gonna just wake up, put sweatpants on, put my jogging sneakers and go out for a jog, then that's what you want to achieve. So it's things like that I also as a person question, and I'm like, is this it? Is this how is this how I go on my day to day every day? So yeah, it became a whole lot of questions for me, and I'm here today because I think I've decided and I've made decisions for myself, and I can safely say that they've led me to get to know who Cindy is. And without intimidating anybody, I always remain an open book to people, and I always want to just engage and learn and grow and just, integrate with cultures and people's thoughts. Yeah. So it went that
Why
direction.
do so why do you think all of these questions were coming at you at such a young age? Is there something that triggered it for you to question who you were at the particular point in time?
Definitely yes, because I mean, I I don't believe I grew up like a normal child would. Like I've always been sheltered by my granny. She was always there to make sure that I had what I needed at that time. And I never forgot why I chose my family, and why I choose to also be calm and humble to what she teaches me every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, for me it was that. I think,
Okay.
and then when people start engaging with me and start making conversations with me about anything, then I think I take some of that wisdom and then I use it and I communicate with people, especially people in my age group. People would start asking me questions and the conversations would be real because I knew exactly what it is that I wanted and I made a choice.
And the
So,
choices that you've made, do you think those choices have led you down the right path?
not all of them, not all of
Mm-hmm.
them, because I'm also human. Like I go
Mm-hmm.
through what normal people go through. So not all of them. Some decisions that I've made have led me to actually understand that the only time and only way I will know what happiness is to go through the pain. So not everything was always like smooth sailing and I was always the life of the party, the advisor of everything. No. But people would come to me just, for perspective and for a little bit of advice on anything. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I believed
Okay.
it was, yeah.
So if you have a look at where you are right now, I mean, when you came into open mic, you said that you're an entrepreneur. So what are some of the things that, you know, about understanding who you are right now that has now led you to an entrepreneur yourself? What has shaped you to become that entrepreneur? So clearly some of the decisions that you've made has clearly, direct links to who you are right now.
Look, for me, I think firstly, like to define the word entrepreneur, it it it's it explains itself. So
Mm-hmm.
when I decided that I'm I'm choosing to be an entrepreneur instead of a 9 to 5, I chose to do what I knew would change something or cause a shift somewhere, be it society or be it my workplace at that moment. So when I say I'm an entrepreneur, I know that there's a gap somewhere in the world today, and I can if I can start speaking about it as a young person, then I know
Mm-hmm.
that somewhere somehow people are responding, and that's when we start engaging about
Mm-hmm.
what it is that is stopping us from actually having like quiet time and getting to know, okay, who I am, instead of trying to always belong somewhere or fit somewhere. Or I mean, sometimes I my like see past CEOs that I've worked in their companies, they're always in meetings. People will be like, you're very quiet in meetings, like you never say anything. And it's like simple things like that. Like sometimes I just want to listen and learn, because before I can lead or before I can start having big campaigns about identity or who am I also need to be led. I also need to grow. So the engagements with young people and anybody, in fact, that I start a conversation with, those also play a contributing factor.
Yeah.
So yeah, I took it that angle and I took it that direction.
Okay. And what were some of the things, as you were discovering, who you are, what were some of the questions that had come up that you had to answer in order to lead you through that path? You don't have to do a lot of them, just an idea, to the audience of some of the questions that came up for you when you were trying to find out from an identity point of view, who you are.
Um, some of the questions that I can think of from the top of my head is, oh, there was one guy. It was
Mm-hmm.
a DM on, I think it was Instagram, and I had just posted a picture of myself, and I wrote rough around the edges. So this guy says to me, he DMs me and says, where do you draw your strength from?
Mm-hmm.
And I said to him, my experiences. I draw my strength from my experiences, what I've gone through and what I'm currently going through, and how
Mm-hmm.
I look at those things. And am I going to decide, do I live in like a life that is insane, whereby I do the same thing repeatedly, expecting
Mm-hmm.
different results? Or am I going to change something about it? And am I going to make something of it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I said to him. I said, from me, like I sometimes I go through journeys where there's certain things that I give up because I'm trying to offload some weight off me. So the only
Mm-hmm.
way I can do that is if I sometimes just remove the world away, like remove the noise around me and just listen. And that's I think for me what draws my strength is that, because then if I keep offloading, if I keep peeling a layer, a page a day, then I know that for sure my third eye is definitely going to open. I will definitely see what I have to say and I will do it.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. I mean, it's a very different, outlook as to how you embrace, who you are.
Yeah.
Um, and if you have to say, who you are today, is it the person that the way that you defined yourself back then and the way that you see yourself now? How does that look for you? How does it look for Cindy? Is it what Cindy had hoped it would be?
Well, not entirely, because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, growing up, you also learning. Like you still carry your influences from back then, from your aunts, from your uncles, your granny. So
Mm-hmm.
it's back then it would have played a different role than to me now. But it's
Mm-hmm.
not all too different, and it's not all too new for me,
Mm-hmm.
because some of the lessons that picked up growing up have still stuck with me now.
Okay.
So I'm not too different from that little girl growing up
Mm-hmm.
with her granny and cousins and living that kind of lifestyle.
Okay. And if you had to share with the people today, what were some of the lessons you learned? Just a few.
Discipline, discipline. Um, yeah, a lot of discipline, and
Discipline in
just
self.
yes, discipline in self. Because I
Okay.
mean, if there's certain things that you choose for yourself, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to be disciplined about it. Our habits. Um, Something else would be self-love for me. Self-love. That uh, that is the biggest lesson. Self-love, and 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 to just remember, those are lessons that I learned from, like, picturing the two, from growing up until now.
Mm-hmm.
To remember
Okay.
my self-love and discipline. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
And would you say those are the things that led you to uncover more of becoming who you are today?
Yes, definitely. Those, yes, they are. Because, I mean, if you can have, well, it doesn't have to be in that order for most people, but I mean,
Yeah.
if you can have those three qualities
Mm-hmm.
in lessons that you've learned, then I think you're more open to actually wanting to learn more and know more about, okay, who am I really? I think it does open it, because it just erases all the doubts and the questions and the going to get perspective from a lot of people. You just avoid
Mm-hmm.
all of that and you just open up to yourself, and you're like, you know what? Maybe I need to start exploring more or learning more, opening
Mm-hmm.
myself up to more things. Yeah.
Okay. So if
Yeah.
you have to give some advice to the young youth out there, because you yourself is very young, so you have to give
Mhm.
to any advice to the youth of today or young women today, what would be some of the advice that you would that I mean a lot of people struggle with who they are. A lot of people go through a lot of crisis and they feel that personal circumstances play a huge role in that, right? Because the people that you surround yourself with obviously influences that. In your case, it was your grandma, right? So if you have to give a message out there today and have anything to communicate to the people that's trying to search for themselves as to who they are, what would some of those things look like? What did it look like for you if you have to portray that message over to them?
Take it a page a day. There's nothing than there's nothing like more satisfying than knowing that, okay, you are going through something and you are doing something about it, but you're taking it a page a day. And a page a day means have a goal for that specific day. So if you're going to have a goal to say, today I'm working on my anger, today I'm going to take a walk, whatever it is that you've set, that you set for yourself to get better for yourself, I think take it a page a day. A quiet time with yourself works even better. I always make sure that if I'm going to achieve something every day, each day, if I'm going to have a goal for each day, then it better be something that I can learn from and it's weight off my shoulders. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say take it a page a day, but don't wait too long also. Do not wait too long, especially when you're ready. When you're ready to just go through that journey and actually go through that self-discovery for yourself, also
Mm-hmm.
reminding yourself that you're a human being. You can never get it right and you can never have it figured out. But each day comes with something, and just take it a page a day and just structure it however it works for you. But do not wait for too long. Do not wait too
Mm.
long for that page. Yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
Do you think the people that you surround yourself with play a role in these type of self discoveries? Because you have, outside influences and you have people that's there. Do you think those type of things influences who you are?
Yes, they do. They do. They definitely do. Because also, like I said, we grow every day and we learn every day. We're
Mm-hmm.
always trying to learn something and hear something. So I think the people that I decide to engage with, or the people that I interact with on a daily
Mm-hmm.
basis, they play a part. It's either growing me, or it's either me learning something from them, or it's either there's an exchange of ideas, that creative space, work,
Mm-hmm.
it could be anything, but whatever it is, then it has to mean something to me. It has to grow me or elevate me in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Cool. So guys, those that are online, please send your thoughts or questions through for Sindile if there's any questions that you may have for her. Yeah, I mean, is there anything else that you would want to share with the audience through your journey, Cindy?
Oh my God, there's a lot. I could write a book, but for now, it's it's a beautiful journey, man. Like the journey of s- the journey of self-discovery is a beautiful journey. Yes, it takes long, but I think when you actually step into it and you're saying that you actually want to make a change somewhere in your life and you just want to better yourself, it has to start somewhere and it has to start with you. It can't start with you always getting advice from people, or it can't start with you always wanting someone else to step up for you. It starts with you and you have to do it. Give up something that you don't need, something that's just hanging. Just give it up. Just have some quiet time. It works. It really works. And like I said before, just don't wait too long. Do not wait too long. I think the less the better.
Yeah, no,
The less
absolutely.
the better.
I think young people today, there's a lot of people out there that know who they are, but sometimes you have the outside influences,
Mm-hmm.
the challenges of
Mm-hmm.
family, the challenges of
Mm-hmm.
friends, and sometimes it does become overwhelming for them. And
Yeah.
to sometimes, you get cluttered with a lot of stuff in the mind that doesn't make you realize, that this is your path. So,
Mm-hmm.
great advice coming from you, being so young and already understanding, who you are. I must say, is something that a lot of people, there's some people that don't even know who they are till today. There's some people that still
Yep.
struggle to find, who they are today. So
Mm-hmm.
it's quite amazing that, you being that young has discovered that already, and well done to you. because
Thank
there's not a lot of people out there that has done that. So absolutely stunning. So Cindy, there's no comments that's coming through today. I think people are just, tired.
you.
They're just listening. They're just listening to you as well. So I'm not too sure, Cindy. Is there any thoughts, any stuff from your end besides that? What are some of the things that you went through self-discovery?
Like you mean events, like
Mm-hmm.
events that happened in my life?
Mm-hmm.
I went through surgery. I had surgery done on my armpit.
Mm-hmm.
They called it, what do they call it? They called it axillary abscess, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Where my whole arm was affected by just a boil, and they
Mm-hmm.
had to cut me open. But then when I also went for like a different view on different advice from a different doctor, they said the
Mm-hmm.
only thing that they had to do was to just cut a hole and drain everything out. But the way they opened me, it was, I could have sued them, but. So for me, that was a journey. It was a journey, and I went through it, from the wound dressings, from all of that. Those things are stages where even the nurses said to me, "Do you know, we couldn't even close up the wound that
Mm-hmm.
was cut. But the reason why it's closing up by itself is because you also are with, like, you also agreeing with it, and you also helping it, you assisting it to close up and
Mm-hmm.
heal." For me, I took that as, I do. I do want change. I do want to make my life better. So I'm not just going to sit back and be like, let God take over. I'm going to stand up and I'm like, I'm going to heal from this. And I did. I did. And even with COVID-19, when I posted my story, when I spoke about it, I wasn't looking for sympathy, but it was just to educate people, and to just create more awareness around ignorance, around things that actually affect us directly. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, that was also growth. I saw that growth in me, like growing each day. So it played
Okay.
a huge part. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you so
Mm.
much for sharing. I think we are done. Is there anything else that you would like to leave our listeners and viewers to, Cindy?
It's as long as you wake up in the morning, man, you are alive, and whether you like it or not, you're gonna have to keep persevering. There's no other way to it. There's no shortcut. You're just gonna have to do it.
Fantastic. Very good advice. Absolutely. I solely agree with you. I have the same philosophy as life in life as well. When you wake up in the morning, be grateful that you're alive. You can
Yeah,
stand, you have your toes, you have your fingers,
just
you
do
have your
it.
health, and just to do it, you be
Just
grateful.
do it. Hmm.
Let's do it. Thank you so much, Cindy, for your time, for coming on to Open Mic Foundation. I truly appreciate it. It is the last day of the month, guys. We will be starting off the new month in September, and the theme for September is actually wisdom. So that
Hmm.
is the new theme. We're looking at wisdom. You're going to see some posts coming out. We have a very special guest coming on next week. She's from Papua New Guinea. She's a phenomenal woman that I've met. Been meeting a lot of women from all parts of the world. So if nobody knows where Papua New Guinea is, have a look at the map. It's also a third world country as well. They have their own challenges there. She's working in the corporate, and she's gonna bring us some highlights as to what's happening in Papua New Guinea. So yes, thank you so much, Cindy. I truly appreciate yourself, your time, coming through Open Mic today and sharing your story with us. And we will speak to you soon, and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much.
Yay! Thank you so much, Ashmi, for having me. I enjoyed every second of it.
Oh, it's a
I
pleasure.
really
Thank you
did.
so
I
much.
really. Thank you so much to everybody that's watching right now. Thank you,
All
guys.
right. Thanks so much, Cindy. Cheers, everyone.
All right. Bye.
Bye.